Guys, thank you for joining us again with another episode of Pursuit of Purpose. This is going to be a relatively short episode. It's a little out of the ordinary from our norm. So thank you for joining us today. I'm Robbie Martin, and today I have with me
Dr. Adriano Goffi.
Dr. Goffi has some very unique perspective that I would like our audience to be able to appreciate, to understand, and to hear from him. Dr. Goffi, you have shared with me and with my partner Charles Olaf that your family is from Argentina,
Right.
and you guys came to America.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of share with us how that happened?
Sure. So I was born in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and I'm 19. So in the early 80s. Okay, and from there we moved back and forth from Argentina and Venezuela. So we actually came to the United States from Venezuela. Okay, not from Argentina. And back then, visas were significantly, I would say they're easier to come, as tourists and, to kind of legally come in on a plane, basically, right? And work visas were not easy. They were kind of difficult. So it wasn't just a merit-based system. When you came, we came on vacation once, and then we got an immigration attorney. And, in order to do so, you needed to basically give something back to the United States, right? It's not like, whether it's, you have to start a business, you have to get a sponsor, right? So it's a variety of issues that you have to do. And that just sponsors you basically just to be able to work, right? And the kids can go to school.
You had to become a contributing member of society.
Exactly. So that means your kids can go to school if you have them, right? You can get a driver's license, right? But there's no federal aid. There's no, you don't have a green card. You can't get loans, student loans, or anything of that. You can get a bank account, and basically you have to make your ends meet, okay? My father was able to get a sponsor and, started with an American Army vet, actually Special Forces American Army vet. He really took a liking to my dad. He needed some help around the area, and he started an air conditioning business. And through that air conditioning business, they did taxes. And my parents, after I think it was like 9 years, after 9 years of doing that, my parents were able to finally get an interview in Mexico. So we had to go down to the border, right? Cross legally over to Mexico. We waited days basically for them to take our number, and then we were able to get basically a green card to come back. So we had to actually go out of the country again and to come back in order to get, and obviously legally. So if we left the United States for any reason, then it would stop all processes, right?
Wow.
And they do complete background checks on all of us, right? I mean, on everything. And
so it
took 9 years.
9 years. So I mean, it kind of sounds like you're saying it was a 10-year process.
It's a 10-year process, and that was pretty much, right? We didn't get it for about 10 years, and that was not citizenship.
Right. That's just
that is
green
just
card.
Legal status. That's just that is a permanent legal status, right? But that still does not give you federal aid. That still does not give you a right to collect, welfare. You can't get federal student loans. Now you can go to school as a resident, not an international student, that was really the biggest thing, because my brothers and sisters, to go to school was very expensive for us back then, because you were an international student, right?
Yeah.
Which at normal credit is $30, and that's $1,200.
Wow.
So it was, I don't even know what it is now.
That's crazy.
So that's why we were all working, and we all had to pay our way, and
so you guys spent 10 years just to get legal green cards to work here and not even be complete citizens yet.
Right.
So was there any in your family that you can remember?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any bitterness or resentment about it?
No, we were so happy to be in the United States. I mean, it was tough. I mean, I think also being in South Florida, there were so many immigrants that a lot of people were going through it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you had a community that shared in it.
It was a community that shared in all of that. So Now, again, my dad had a work visa, and we were paying taxes.
Yeah,
and we've
absolutely.
Also, I guess we worked so hard, and my dad always instilled in us that you know as long as you work hard, good things will come. So luckily, we all worked together and we all pulled together, and we also didn't need those programs, right? We luckily we didn't need them. I mean, it was tight. Don't get me wrong, and it was definitely not easy times by any stretch, but we made our way. The the only time I felt it was when I went into the military. I couldn't, because I was a naturalized citizen, and well, actually was not a citizen. I, got my citizenship through the military, serving through the military after the green card. I couldn't do certain things because I wasn't a natural born citizen, which I respect that as for security.
Did that make you feel any less valuable as a human?
No, no. I mean, I joined after 9/11, and it was one of the best things that I've ever done, outside of medicine, right?
So wait a minute, before you go too far, for our audience to understand what you just said. So you and your family immigrated to this country, took a 10-year process just to be able to legally live here and work.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we were attacked on 9/11, you were inspired to defend the land you now lived in.
That's right.
Now that, to me, is about as American as it possibly can get.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that's inspiring to our audience. Now, I want to ask you something
Mm-hmm.
because your perspective is very unique. Mm-hmm. And I meet a lot of people, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah.
So how does it make you feel for people to do it the wrong way? Or to do it the way they're doing it now, the way that is.
I mean, so, even back then, plenty of people came on on like a tourist visa,
Right.
And then applied here. Does that make sense? But they were always in legal status. You have to remember, like back then, if you were not in legal status, you were out.
Right.
Like, the only people who got touch and go was Cuba. That was it, especially in South Florida. So it was very stern back then, immigration. And, we were law-abiding citizens. And, so therefore right now, believe it or not, it offends us as a family dramatically for it to be that open, Now we understand what it's like for political prosecution.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. Well,
we
people who are
100% understand that.
people who are politically persecuted,
Right.
are they can seek asylum here and do it right.
Exactly.
And we as Americans, and me as an American,
Mm-hmm.
born here, raised here, and everything, I want those people to feel safe here. But I want them to do it the right way.
Yeah, and the right way, when Trump was in office, believe it or not, I had a friend in Mexico who was a physician, and it took 3 to 6 months for him to get a work visa, and it was not not crossing or anything like that. It's really not hard.
Well, 3 to 6 months doesn't sound that bad.
Doesn't sound bad at all. And now it was yes, he's a physician,
Right.
Those are the people that we also want here, and everybody's wanted. Don't get me wrong, but what I despise about this, and what I've learned more as you get older, is it only becomes a topic where it matters in Washington during election time.
Isn't that something?
And that's what I think is most frustrating, because there's not a single person that's worth it that's coming through that's worth it.
I get what you're saying.
That will not come here and not pay taxes from the second that they show up and go and work. And I think that every one of those people that says if someone commits a crime to be bussed out of this country, that none of them will say no to that. And I think that we've lost that vision of what it is for people to be able to come that can offer something to our country, right? Because I think that's the biggest thing. We came here for the American dream, and I wouldn't even know what it would be to apply for unemployment. And not because anybody who's done it is a bad thing, because it comes and goes. But what I'm saying is, we are a nation that only has limited resources, right? I mean, and I'm here now, and I want all those people to come, but it has to be done legally. You can't just bombard and let people unsafe. Guys, 9/11 is why I joined. That there is insecurities associated with it, and it's very harmful. And I think that's the biggest thing. As someone who's done it legally, that it's possible to do legally.
And it looks to me like from where I sit, and you have I love your perspective, but I'd love to hear your response to this. It looks to me, from my perspective, as though the value of being an American and the value of the American dream is being diminished with every illegal immigrant that comes here and doesn't follow the system and comes here and takes advantage of the possibility of doing it the illegal way. It looks like our value, the value of this nation and the value of being a person like yourself or a person like myself is being diminished person by person. It's what it looks like.
So I will define it as I came to the United States, okay, and even being in South Florida, one of the things that really bothered me is stuff of South America, okay, and I do love, I'm from Argentina as well, and there's always a passion.
Absolutely.
But when I go, I believe in a line. Okay, let's break it very simple, right? Like, I believe if you go to a bakery, and even though there's not necessarily a line, I was there first, and it's not the law. And in Spanish, it's la ley de lo más arrecho, meaning the loudest person gets the croissant. No, you're here first.
There's an order of operations.
I believe that's America. That was America, and I believe that it still is America.
It's the fundamental foundation of what we are.
I believe in the fact that in Venezuela, I can't leave a door open because they're going to rob my house. I believe that in the United States, I don't have a key to my house. I did not have a key to my house in South Florida. I didn't even know what a key was. My house was open for individuals, and it was safe, right? That's law and order. That's the American dream. That's the United States. That's the community helping each other. There's always bad apples.
Absolutely, yes.
So if you ask me, do I think that we're losing ourselves? Yes. The answer is yes. When you let in people that what my dad called zeros to the left of a decimal point, that do nothing good for society, it's intermixed, there's some good ones. We are losing ourselves for that exact reason. When you don't control immigration and you don't control law, then all you did is move cultures that are not our foundation. And we accept other cultures. The thing is the culture abides by the laws of our community. Right. And bring their cool idiosyncrasies into the flavor, right? Into the pot, right? It mix into the soup. But they left that to come here to have
for a purpose, for a reason. Yes.
For the schools to be good.
Yes.
Right? That is the American dream. And that is being inundated by people that are not worth it and taking advantage. Crime. That has no place here.
So then the natural result of this, if it's continued, will be we will be no better. We will be no more attractive.
There will be no law and order.
That's exactly right. There will be no safety as it was when you got here, as it was intended by our founding fathers and the purpose for our nation to have been built the way that it is. That attractive nature of our land, the attractiveness of our ability to thrive and live safely and create for yourself a place for a family, a place to build wealth. Yeah. All of those things will be torn down by this process. Would you agree with that?
I agree. I mean, like I said, something as simple as that line, right? I mean, think about it. You said the word demoralizing, like all that. How could it not be? I'm standing here. Well, I have a busy day. You got a busy day.
Yeah. But
if there's no rules and they just go in and bombard and they just jump in front of you, I don't even mean stealing, by the way.
Right. No,
and that's the way your day always goes, right? It's sort of like, that's not even nice guy finished last. It's like, then you turn yourself. You start to question, like you question literally your own self. Like, what am I doing here? What's my purpose?
Yes.
There is no order, there is no nothing, and that's where it starts to, when you start to question yourself, because society has changed so much that you don't recognize it. I mean, there's nothing else to do but change, and it's forced upon you, right? You start to get more protective.
Yeah.
Start to get paranoid.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, because you start having the mindset of your parents before they moved here. Isn't that sad? The thing
now you have to go somewhere.
That you start looking for a better place.
Right.
When this was intended to be the best place. So I want to thank you for your perspective on this. I know we could talk a long time, but I really appreciate you being the guest here on our show, and thank you for sharing your experience. Thank you for being an American. Thank you for serving our country, and I can't thank you enough. I appreciate you. Thank you, Dr. Goffi. Thank you to our audience again. This is Pursuit of Purpose. I'm Robbie, and we've got Dr. Adriano Goffi with us today. He's been a great guest, and I hope you guys will stay tuned for more.